Chapter 51 The Schemes of Yuanxi. Yuanxi spoke these words, but he first went to check on Gu Changsheng's condition. Before him lay Gu Changsheng, who could only be described with one word: terrible. He was barely clinging to life, hanging on by his last breath. If not for Yuan Shu using the auspicious clouds of heaven to block most of the Hongman Sander's attack, Gu Changsheng would have been reduced to ashes. Yuanxi channeled his power, trying to heal Gu Changsheng. But even with his saintly abilities, he couldn't fully repair the damage. The destructive eye, intent within the Hongman Sander was something even a saint found hard to withstand, let alone Gu Changsheng, who was just a quasi-saint. Yuanxi's healing couldn't keep up with the destructive force of the Hongman Sander. Yuanxi was truly losing his mind. Originally, Jiang Ziya's victory over Shang and the near extinction of the Jie sect were great triumphs for his Chan sect. But the subsequent events were completely beyond the Chan sect leaders' expectations. First, the four great celestial beings Manjushui, Sementophedra, Avalokiteshvara, and Xitigarbhaji in the Western sect. Then, on the Fanshan platform, Deoxing and Chaijingzi were successively slain by Gu Changsheng. After that, even Rendan joined the Western sect. As a result, the original 12 Immortals of Yukinho were reduced to just 6. And now, Gu Changsheng's life was hanging by a thread. Clearly, the destruction of the Jie sect was the combined effort of the 4 saints and 3 sects, so why did it seem like only his Chan sect was suffering? The Ren sect's Suandu only lost an arm and suffered some loss in cultivation. Yet, Gu Changsheng's survival was uncertain. Did Gu Changsheng really think his Chan sect was easy to bully? Yuanxi turned and glared at Gu Changsheng, gritting his teeth. Gu Changsheng, didn't you promise the teacher that you wouldn't intervene? Upon hearing this, Tongtian looked at Gu Changsheng with some concern. In his fervor to defeat Gu Changsheng, he had forgotten this matter. Now that Gu Changsheng had attacked Gu Changsheng, would the Dao ancestor take action? But Gu Changsheng innocently replied, I did indeed make an agreement with Han Zhang. But wasn't it Wai Oh who just told me to act? This was the most absurd thing Yuanxi had heard in a long time. Yuanxi immediately retorted, utter nonsense. When did I ever tell you to attack Gu Changsheng? Gu Changsheng replied earnestly, didn't you say earlier that my master attacking Gu Changsheng was bullying the weak? Doesn't that mean you wanted me to act? Gu Changsheng is your Chan sect's top disciple, and I am the top disciple of the Jie sect. It's reasonable for me to deal with Gu Changsheng, isn't it? As he spoke, Gu Changsheng glanced at the fallen Gu Changsheng and sighed. I just didn't expect that Gu Changsheng, your top disciple, would be so weak. And that Suandu from the Ren sect earlier, what a so-called top disciple. Your and Laozi's choices of disciples are really not that great. If Gu Changsheng and Suandu could hear Gu Changsheng's words now, one wonders how they would feel. Big Xiao on the side also laughed. The top disciples of the Ren sect and Chan sect are really disappointing. Tongtian, hearing this, couldn't help but smile. Yuanxi's face, however, turned ugly. It was the first time anyone had sighed. Gu Changsheng was inadequate. One must know that the Chan sect's criteria for accepting disciples were very different from the Jie sect's. The Chan sect valued talent and status highly. Each of the 12 Immortals of Yukinho was a prodigy in cultivation. Especially Gu Changsheng, who even had a chance of achieving sainthood in the future. Yet, in Gu Changsheng's mouth, he was so worthless. Now, Yuanxi finally understood the feeling Laozi had on Kirin Cliff before. Yuanxi angrily said, so you're saying Gu Changsheng is just not as skilled? Gu Changsheng spread his hands and replied indifferently, what else? These simple words instantly made Yuanxi's anger reach its peak. No longer caring about Gu Changsheng, Yuanxi's eyes filled with blood, and the aura around him grew stronger and stronger. He roared, Gu Changsheng, do you really think my Chan sect is easy to bully? Today, I'll show you that high cultivation doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. At this moment, the shadow of the Panu banner appeared behind Yuanxi. Seeing this, Big Xiao couldn't help but say, Master, Yuanxi even brought out the Panu banner. But will this be enough to defeat Brother Gu? Although she hadn't witnessed Gu Changsheng's feats at the Fenshan platform on Mount Sumru, based on what she had seen earlier, even with the Panu banner, Yuanxi wouldn't be able to defeat Gu Changsheng. But Tongtian's gaze was fixed on Yuanxi, a look of surprise crossing his face. The power on the Panu banner was becoming increasingly violent. This kind of violence was very familiar to Tongtian. After the failure of the 10,000 Immortals formation, he had once thought of detonating the 4 swords of immortality to recreate the chaotic scene of earth, fire, wind, and water. And now, Yuanxi clearly had the same idea. Was it worth such a reaction for just Guanqingzi? The destructive intent on the Panu banner grew stronger, and Yuanxi's expression became more and more crazed. However, there was no trace of panic in Gu Changsheng's eyes, only a hint of killing intent. He had failed to kill Yuanxi and Laozi before. Today, with only Yuanxi present, it was the perfect opportunity. Gu Changsheng summoned the slaughtering heaven sword. But, just as he was about to make his move, a purple light descended from the sky onto the Panu banner. Under this purple light, the destructive aura on the Panu banner instantly subsided. Yuanxi's lips curled into a slight smile, showing a look of satisfaction. His plan had succeeded. In truth, Yuanxi had no intention of self-destructing the Panu banner to recreate earth, fire, wind, and water. The purpose of his actions was to draw the teacher here. Previously, he and Laozi had gone to the Xixiao palace to seek the teacher's help because of Zuandu, which had already displeased the teacher. Now, if he went to the teacher again because of Guanqingzi, the outcome would not be favorable. So, Yuanxi had thought of a way to bring the teacher here without seeking him directly. And it worked. The commotion caused by his attempt to self-destruct the Panu banner and recreate earth, fire, wind, and water had successfully drawn Han Zhang's attention. Han Zhang appeared, his face grim as he looked at Yuanxi. Repairing the Fenshan list seemed to be an incredibly difficult task. Were Yuanxi and the others deliberately causing trouble? Han Zhang coldly said. Yuanxi, you'd better give me a perfect explanation. Yuanxi immediately pointed at Gu Changsheng. Teacher, Gu Changsheng and Tongtian are bullying my Chan sect and harming my disciples. As he spoke, Han Zhang turned to look at Gu Changsheng and Tongtian. But then his expression froze. The person beside Tongtian was that Big Xiao. Chapter 52, Gu Changsheng's perfect explanation. For the first time, a hint of astonishment appeared on Han Zhang's usually indifferent face. Previously, when Yuanxi and Laozi had come to him with this story, he had been somewhat skeptical. After all, the Fenshan list was always in his possession, and even after a thorough calculation, he had found nothing unusual. But now, Big Xiao stood right next to Tongtian. Yuanxi and Laozi might have made a mistake, but as the Dao ancestor, how could he possibly be wrong? This was indeed Big Xiao. How did someone whose soul was on the Fenshan list get resurrected? Han Zhang was filled with doubts. Yuanxi, seeing Han Zhang's reaction, was overjoyed. Now the teacher should be too preoccupied to blame him for disturbing him. He was curious to see how the Jie sect would handle this. At this moment, Tongtian also noticed Han Zhang's unusual behavior, his heart immediately filled with anxiety. Although Gu Changsheng had previously assured him that Han Zhang could do nothing to him, Han Zhang was still the most powerful being in the world. What would happen now that the suddenly resurrected Big Xiao was standing before Han Zhang? In contrast to Tongtian's tension, Big Xiao remained calm, showing no fear. In the next moment, Gu Changsheng moved, standing directly in front of Big Xiao. With a wave of his right hand, he summoned the chaos bead, its light enveloping Big Xiao and temporarily storing her inside. It was best to be cautious since it was unclear what Han Zhang would do. Seeing Big Xiao being taken into the chaos bead, another hint of astonishment flashed in Han Zhang's eyes. He directly asked, "Why is Big Xiao here?" However, Gu Changsheng was prepared. "Is there a problem?" Previously, on the Fenshen platform, when I severed the Fenshen list with my sword, I casually took back Big Xiao's soul, reshaped her body, and resurrected her. Is that difficult? This was an explanation Gu Changsheng had thought of on the spot. Since he had only Rika and a few souls from the Fenshen list, and Zhao Gongming had not appeared, this explanation was plausible. As long as Han Zhang didn't closely inspect the Fenshen list to see who was missing, he wouldn't notice the flaw in Gu Changsheng's reasoning. Besides, even if Han Zhang knew Gu Changsheng could reclaim souls from the Fenshen list, what could he do? Based on what Gu Changsheng knew of Han Zhang, it was unlikely he would directly attack the Jie sect disciples. At most, Han Zhang would ask the Four Saints and the Three Sects to send more people to the list again. Hearing Gu Changsheng's explanation, Han Zhang recalled that Gu Changsheng had indeed taken a soul during the battle on the Fenshen platform. Thinking of it this way, he realized he had been overthinking. However, Yuanxi couldn't accept this explanation. Could it really be that simple? Yuanxi was doubtful. But with Han Zhang present, he dared not speak out. Angering Han Zhang could have dire consequences. What to do now? Yuanxi's gaze shifted to the fallen Guanqingzi, and an idea formed. He quickly stepped to Guanqingzi's side, calling out anxiously, "Guanqingzi." Yuanxi could only remind Han Zhang of Gu Changsheng's attack on Guanqingzi this way. This strategy proved effective. Han Zhang glanced at Guanqingzi, then looked back at Gu Changsheng, and coldly asked, "What about your attack on Guanqingzi?" Gu Changsheng reiterated the same explanation he had given Yuanxi, both in terms of identity and cultivation level. Han Zhang's expression turned colder, and he sternly said, "Gu Changsheng, I am not in the mood for word games with you. From now on, regardless of identity or cultivation level, you, Gu Changsheng, are forbidden from taking action again. If you violate this again, be prepared to stay in the chaos beat forever." Han Zhang indeed had no effective way to deal with Gu Changsheng right now. But Gu Changsheng was not a match for Han Zhang. The key was whether Han Zhang was willing to expend the effort and time on Gu Changsheng. For Han Zhang, repairing the Fenshen list and merging with the Dao were the most urgent matters. He really had no patience for these trivial issues in the world. Listening to Han Zhang's threat, Gu Changsheng replied indifferently, "It's not just my fault. You should see if someone provoked me." Han Zhang's reaction was within Gu Changsheng's expectations. Han Zhang ignored Gu Changsheng and turned to leave. Yuanxi couldn't accept this. Guanqingzi was on the verge of death, and Han Zhang just said a few words and left. Yuanxi hurriedly called out, "Teacher, is that it?" If Han Zhang just left like this, Yuanxi couldn't accept it. After shouting, Yuanxi felt some regret. But there was no other way. Even if he risked angering the teacher, he had to speak. Han Zhang looked back at Yuanxi, his icy gaze making Yuanxi's heart tremble. Fortunately, Han Zhang didn't lash out, but simply waved his right hand. A streak of purple light fell on Guanqingzi, and he said, "This will keep Guanqingzi alive. After some recuperation, he will recover." Without giving Yuanxi a chance to speak, Han Zhang's figure disappeared. He was eager to return to repairing the Fenshen list. Han Zhang left just like that. Yuanxi looked at the spot where Han Zhang had stood, feeling a bit dazed. But it wasn't all bad. At least Guanqingzi was saved. As for Gu Changsheng, the Chan sect would avoid provoking him for now. Yuanshi glanced at Gu Changsheng and coldly said, Gu Changsheng, if you dare harm my Jie sect disciples again, I'll sacrifice my life to make you pay. Remember, Yuanshi was a heavenly saint, immortal and indestructible. Gu Changsheng, as a Hanyun Wo, would truly perish if he fell. With that, Yuanshi stopped arguing with Gu Changsheng and left with Guanqingzi. He had to return to the Chan sect and carefully instruct the remaining disciples. No more harm should come to them. Seeing Hongzhang and Yuanshi leave one after the other, Gu Changsheng remained unfazed, but Tongtian felt a sense of unreality. Was that it? He thought Hongzhang would take action against Gu Changsheng. How did it end with just a few words? Gu Changsheng looked at the bewildered Tongtian and laughed. That's wrong. Can't understand. Tongtian nodded. Was Hongzhang really that wary of Gu Changsheng? Actually, Hongzhang isn't afraid of me. The reason is simple, the effort and reward of dealing with me are not proportional. So, for now, he won't deal with me. There's no benefit in dealing with Gu Changsheng. The life and death of the 4 saints and 3 sects don't matter much to Hongzhang. If Yuanshi hadn't threatened to recreate the chaos of earth, fire, wind, and water, threatening the world, Hongzhang wouldn't have come for Guanqingzi alone. Hearing Gu Changsheng's explanation, Tongtian suddenly understood. He had failed to grasp this point. At this moment, a voice sounded in Gu Changsheng's ear. A new task has been issued. Please check and complete the task promptly. A new task had arrived. Chapter 53, Master, can you not defeat Gu Changsheng? Gu Changsheng summoned the system task panel and quickly reviewed the new task. Task, go to the underworld and check in. Reward, 1,000 Heaven's Secrets points, 1 lottery chance. Seeing this new task, Gu Changsheng's expression froze for a moment. It wasn't the task of going to the underworld that surprised him, but the task reward. There was a lottery chance. Since Gu Changsheng activated this task system, most of the task rewards had only been Heaven's Secrets points. Only a few tasks had rewarded items, like the slaughtering Heaven Sword, a supreme chaos treasure. As for lottery rewards, there had only been one instance. Recalling that lottery, Gu Changsheng still remembered it clearly. The system's lottery pool contained various treasures and divine abilities, but during that one lot, Gu Changsheng, despite being a Wo Jingxian, had only drawn a pill that allowed a celestial immortal to break through. It had almost driven Gu Changsheng mad with anger. Now, with this new task, he was determined to draw something good this time. While Gu Changsheng was deep in thought, Tongtian's voice rang in his ears. Changsheng, what's wrong? Seeing Gu Changsheng suddenly stop and fall into a daze, Tongtian couldn't help but ask. Hearing this, Gu Changsheng snapped back to reality. The task of going to the underworld could wait. He smiled and said, nothing, just thinking about how to deal with the Chan sect next. Hearing this, Tongtian sighed, it's a pity we couldn't eliminate Guanqingzi this time. Yuanshi arrived too quickly. Gu Changsheng replied calmly, no need to worry, he's bound to die sooner or later. Actually, Gu Changsheng hadn't planned to kill Guanqingzi on this trip to Jiuxian Mountain. After all, there were many gods on the Fenshin list. The number of disciples from the human, Chan, and Western sects wasn't large. So, this trip was just accompanying his master. Once Hongzhang finished repairing and the Fenshin list, they could send those people back to the list. Otherwise, if only the Jie sect disciples' souls were reclaimed from the list without new ones, feeling it, Hongzhang might go mad. However, it was somewhat unexpected for Yuanshi to protect Guanqingzi from the Hongman thunder. Tongtian, seemingly thinking of something, furrowed his brow and said solemnly, but if we didn't kill Guanqingzi this time, it will be harder next time. After this incident, Yuanshi will likely order the 12 Immortals of Yuqingho to stay in Kunlun Mountain. For the Hong sect now, the only one they couldn't handle was Gu Changsheng. As long as the Chan sect disciples stayed in Kunlun Mountain with Yuanxi there, they would be absolutely safe as Gu Changsheng couldn't make a move. After Tongtian said this, Gu Changsheng showed no concern. Instead, he smiled and said lightly, just having the disciples stay in their mountain gates and not come out, right? Don't worry, Master, I have my ways. For now, let's head back to Jiejiao Island. With that, Gu Changsheng turned to leave. Tongtian stood there, stunned. Why did Gu Changsheng's words sound so familiar? Stay in the mountain gates and not come out. After a moment, Tongtian remembered. At the beginning of the Fenshan War, hadn't he instructed the Jie sect disciples to do the same? Now it was the Chan sect's turn. Would Yuanxi really do this? As Tongtian pondered, he realized Gu Changsheng had already disappeared from his sight. Oh well, let's head back to Jiejiao Island first, Tongtian thought. Given the current situation, there wasn't much a quasi-saint like him could do. For now, he would leave the Jie sect's matters to Gu Changsheng and focus on achieving the Hanyundo wall. With that, Tongtian also returned to Jiejiao Island. Jiejiao Palace. Hongzhang returned to Jiejiao Palace, looking at the Fenshan list being repaired. A hint of doubt appeared in his calm eyes. Although Gu Changsheng's explanation was reasonable, taking a soul when the Fenshan list broke on the Fenshan platform, Hongzhang still had some doubts. But the Fenshan list's repair was at a critical stage. Removing it now to check its contents would ruin the progress. After a moment's hesitation, Hongzhang decided to let it go. At the current pace, it would only take 100 days to complete the repair. Once the Fenshan list was fully restored, he could check it then. After that, he would have Yuanxi and others send more souls to the list. With the Fenshan list complete, he could merge with Jiejiao more easily and deal with Gu Changsheng. A flash of killing intent appeared in Hongzhang's eyes. In this world, no one could act so arrogantly before him. Kunlun Mountain. After returning, Yuanxi arranged a cave for Guanqingzi to recover. Although Hongzhang's final purple light had neutralized the destructive intent of the Hongman Thunder within Guanqingzi, he remained unconscious and needed rest. Yuanxi then went to Yuqing Hall. Inside, Yuding Zhenren, Tei Zhenren, and other Chan sect disciples had been waiting for a long time. Seeing Yuanxi return, Tei Zhenren couldn't help but ask, Master, why have you summoned us? Yuding Zhenren looked around and asked, Where is Brother Guanqingzi? Hearing this, Yuanxi glanced at the assembled disciples, feeling a pang of nostalgia. Yuqing Hall had once been so glorious, with the 12 Immortals below, and Randan and Nangjixian on either side. Now, less than half of the 12 Immortals remained, and Randan had joined the Western sect. All because of Gu Changsheng. Yuanxi took a deep breath and solemnly said, Guanqingzi was injured by a Jie sect member and needs to recover. Hearing this, Tei and Yuding looked serious. They had thought the Jie sect was almost extinct, but now a Hanyundo wall like Gu Changsheng had emerged. Yuding Zhenren asked gravely, So, Master, have you summoned us to deal with the Jie sect? Yuanxi shook his head and said, From today onwards, you will not return to your own caves to cultivate. Stay in Kunlun Mountain. As Gu Changsheng had predicted, Yuanxi's strategy was to have the Chan sect disciples remain in the Western sect. If he couldn't defeat Gu Changsheng, he would hide from him. As long as it wasn't Gu Changsheng, no other Jie sect members, including Tongtian, were a match for Yuanxi. At this moment, Tei Zhenren looked at Yuanxi and said, Master, are we hiding from Gu Changsheng? Can't you defeat him? Yuanxi's face instantly turned dark. Chapter 54, If you can speak, say more. Tei Zhenren's words hung in the air. Yuding Zhenren, who had been standing with Tei, immediately took a step back, his face filled with disbelief. He was genuinely curious, how Teizeran had managed to stay among the 12 immortals of Yukinho for so long. Did he not think before speaking? Couldn't he see that their master's expression had already changed? But before Yuanxi could erupt, Huanglong Theron stepped forward, speaking up. Tei, what are you saying? Seeing Huanglong Theron step up, Yuanxi felt a bit gratified. Unexpectedly, the usually low-profile Huanglong Theron knew to stand up and rebuke Tei. But before Yuanxi could say anything, he heard Huanglong Theron continue. Why are you asking such meaningless questions? Did you forget that our master already fought at Gu Changsheng once on the Fanshan platform? The entire Yukinho fell silent. Yuding Zhenren put a hand to his forehead. It was over. If Tei Zhenren was foolish, then Huanglong Zhenren's words were beyond foolish. He sneaked a glance at his master. Yuanxi's face turned extremely ugly, his mouth twitching. With a wave of his right hand, Yuanxi's power surged, directly throwing Tei Zhenren and Huanglong Zhenren out of Yukinho. Reflect on your mistakes for 100 years. His angry voice echoed through Yukinho. Why had he ever taken in Huanglong and Tei? If the Chan sect weren't so depleted, he would have expelled them both from the sect. Yuanxi's actions thoroughly frightened the remaining disciples, who dared not speak. After a moment, Yuanxi looked at Yuding Zhenren and the others, speaking solemnly. Remember what I said earlier. From now on, all of you will stay in Kanlan Mountain. Seeing Yuanxi's anger had lessened, Yuding Zhenren cautiously spoke. Master, it's not a problem for us to stay in Kanlan Mountain, but we can't stay here forever. We still need to deal with Gu Changsheng. In fact, Yuding Zhenren's concern wasn't an issue. Yuanxi replied calmly, don't worry, it won't take long. As soon as the teacher repairs the Fanshan list, he will have time to deal with Gu Changsheng. From Mount Sumru to Jiuxian Mountain, Yuanxi had realized that Hongzhang didn't want to deal with Gu Changsheng right now because repairing the Fanshan list was more important. The Chan sect needed to avoid conflict during this time. Yuanxi's face showed a cold smile. He was eager to see how long Gu Changsheng could remain complacent. Meanwhile, after returning to Jinao Island, Tongtian went directly to Baiawu Palace to cultivate. His next goal was to achieve the Hanyuan Dou Jingxian level. With Gu Changsheng's insights and experiences to guide him, this shouldn't be difficult. It was just a matter of how long it would take for Tongtian to break through to Hanyuan Dou. As for Gu Changsheng, he released Big Xiao from the chaos speed and then returned to his cave. When Big Xiao emerged, she immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding Jie sect disciples. Big Xiao, where did you go with senior brother Gu and master? Big Xiao was at the chaos speed that senior brother Gu had just now. Big Xiao, you. Amidst the barrage of questions, Big Xiao's gaze fell on Qiu Suxian, directly asking. Have you finished telling the story of senior brother Gu's deeds on Mount Sumru? Hurry, tell me about Mount Sumru, and I'll tell you where we just went. Qiu Suxian quickly recounted Gu Changsheng's feats on Mount Sumru. After hearing it, Big Xiao was filled with astonishment. Senior brother Gu had fought against the four saints on Mount Sumru. Did this mean that only the Dao ancestor could surpass him in the world? Big Xiao's eyes sparkled with admiration. But the others couldn't wait any longer, urging. I've told you all about senior brother Gu on Mount Sumru, now it's your turn. What did senior brother Gu and master do? Under their curious gazes, Big Xiao smiled and began. You wouldn't believe it, we went to Jiuxian Mountain. This immediately caught everyone's attention. Jiuxian Mountain. Isn't that Guanqingzi's domain? Did senior brother Gu go to settle accounts with Guanqingzi? Speaking of Guanqingzi, senior sister Jinling died at his hands. He should pay with his blood. Big Xiao, hurry up and tell us, don't keep us in suspense. Seeing their impatience, Big Xiao continued. You don't know, when we got to Jiuxi Mountain, I immediately struck it with a Qing Divine Thunder. That. Just as she mentioned Qing Divine Thunder, Big Xiao suddenly remembered something and rushed towards Gu Changsheng's cave. Qiu Suxian and the others protested. Big Xiao, finish your story. Leaving us hanging is not fair. But Big Xiao didn't look back, shouting. Next time, I'll tell you next time. In his cave, Gu Changsheng continued to practice the Hongmen Zhangzhen scroll as usual. He was preparing to head to the underworld. Completing the task was one goal. The other goal was to find someone there. If Yuan's Hai ordered the Chen sect disciples to stay in Kunlun Mountain, there was little he could do. Other Jie sect disciples wouldn't fare well in Kunlun Mountain either. But he had a way to make the Chen sect disciples come out. And this plan required two people. If he was right, one of them should be in the underworld. Just as he was about to leave, a voice came from outside the cave. Senior Brother Gu. Senior Brother Gu. As the voice sounded, Big Xiao rushed in. Gu Changsheng turned to look at her, wondering why she had come at this time. What is it? Big Xiao didn't beat around the bush and asked directly. Senior Brother Gu, the divine power you used against Guanqingzi was amazing. Can you teach me? Hearing this, Gu Changsheng was momentarily stunned. Was she talking about the Hongmen Thunder? Her thinking was ambitious. The Hongmen Thunder had cost him a fortune in Heaven's Secrets points from the system's store. Among thunder techniques, nothing in the entire world could compare. Not Qing Divine Thunder, not Yuqing Divine Thunder. However, Hongmen Thunder wasn't easy to learn. Gu Changsheng chuckled. You want to learn it? Big Xiao nodded eagerly. Gu Changsheng continued. First, go back and master your Qing Divine Thunder. At least reach the level of our master. If she hadn't even mastered the basics, she couldn't dream of learning Hongmen Thunder. He thought this demand would dissuade Big Xiao, but she seemed thrilled and quickly agreed. Okay, I'll practice right away. But you have to promise not to go back on your word. With that, Big Xiao left. Gu Changsheng stood there, slightly dazed. Well, never mind, he thought. It's time to head to the underworld. With a swift move, Gu Changsheng headed straight to the underworld. The underworld. A figure suddenly appeared in the underworld. Gu Changsheng had just arrived when a cold voice called out from a distance. What brings you to my underworld? Chapter 55. Changsheng arrives at the underworld. Hearing the voice, Gu Changsheng was momentarily stunned, but quickly recovered. Was Haote's perception this sharp? He had just entered the underworld and was immediately detected. Well, it didn't matter since he had to deal with Haote anyway. In the future, if he was to contend with Han Zhang, Haote would be a crucial ally. With a sweep of his divine sense, he locked onto the location of the Hall of Peace. With a step, his figure appeared before the hall's gate. Gu Changsheng smiled and said in a deep voice, Gu Changsheng of the Jie sect Great Taoist Pink Xing. As his words echoed, a soft came from within the Hall of Peace. In the next moment, the scenery before him changed, and he found himself inside the hall. Opposite him, a figure slowly manifested. A woman in pale yellow attire perfectly complemented her graceful figure. She exuded an indescribable and profound aura, a pressure entirely different from that of the heavenly Dao saints like Tongtian. This was none other than the Earth Dao saint, Haote. As her form became clearer, Haote's beautiful eyes fixed on Gu Changsheng, filled with intense astonishment. As an Earth Dao saint, nothing in the underworld could escape Haote's perception. Thus, she had sensed Gu Changsheng the moment he stepped into the underworld. But in her perception, the one who entered was a saint. She had thought it would be one of the 6 saints of the Great Desolation, but it wasn't. It was someone who claimed to be a disciple of the Jie sect. During her time in the underworld, had the Jie sect raised a disciple to sainthood? No, that wasn't right. Houte's eyes flashed as if trying to see through Gu Changsheng. Though his aura far surpassed that of a quasi-saint, he felt distinctly different from the heavenly Dao saints like Yuanxi. While Houtu pondered, Gu Changsheng spoke. Taoist Pink Xin, how long do you plan to keep staring? Stop guessing, I am not a heavenly Dao saint B. At a Hanun Dao wall, this statement left Houtu momentarily embarrassed. However, her beautiful eyes soon widened in shock. Hanun Dao wall. In the Great Desolation, had someone actually achieved Hanun Dao wall? If she had become a Hanun Dao wall instead of an Earth Dao saint back then, would the outcome of the Lich calamity have been different? Steadying herself, Houtu spoke solemnly. Tongtian has indeed taken a good disciple, but as a Jie sect disciple, what brings you to my underworld? Could it be that Hongzhang was extending his reach into the underworld? Thinking of this, Houte's expression turned cold, her gaze at Gu Changsheng becoming icer. Noticing Houte's change in expression, Gu Changsheng guessed what she was thinking and quickly said, my visit has nothing to do with Hongzhang. You might not know, but after the Lich calamity, we are now in the Fenshen calamity. During this period, Gu Changsheng briefly explained the situation of the Fenshen calamity. After he finished, Houtu nodded thoughtfully, murmuring, no wonder, there have been more souls in the underworld recently. In the Fenshen calamity, when cultivators died, their souls were drawn to the Fenshen list. As for ordinary mortals, most of them either dissipated or descended to the underworld. Based on her deduction, Emperor Xin should be in the underworld. However, the underworld was still imperfect, leaving many souls as wandering and ghosts. Then Houtu asked, but what does this have to do with your visit? Gu Changsheng had spoken at length but hadn't mentioned his purpose in the underworld. Gu Changsheng smiled. I would like to ask you to help me find a soul. Whose soul? Houtu asked in response. Gu Changsheng answered promptly, the soul of Emperor Xin. This was another significant reason for his visit, possibly even more important than completing the task. To deal with the four saints and the three sects, Emperor Xin was a crucial link. Hearing the name Emperor Xin, Houtu was visibly startled. Emperor Xin was not an ordinary soul. Why do you want Emperor Xin's soul? Houtu suddenly took an interest in Gu Changsheng's motives. According to Gu Changsheng, the destruction of the Shang dynasty during the Fenshen calamity was decreed by the heavenly Dao. Why would Gu Changsheng seek Emperor Xin's soul now? However, this time Gu Changsheng did not answer, instead saying, I'm afraid I cannot tell you that. Houte's expression turned cold, her voice icy. Then why should I help you? The underworld was vast. Even for a Hanun Dao wall, finding Emperor Xin's soul alone would be difficult. But with Houte's help, it would be a trivial task. Faced with her question, Gu Changsheng remained unperturbed and said calmly, because we have a common enemy, don't you want to deal with Hongzhang? If the Fenshen calamity unfolds as Hongzhang plans, and he ultimately merges with the Dao, can you guarantee he won't target you? Just because Hongzhang hadn't acted against Houtu after the Lich calamity didn't mean he never would. Would the suppression of the Earth Dao by the Heavenly Dao stop there? Gu Changsheng's words plunged Houtu into deep thought. From the time she became an Earth Dao saint until now, Houtu had come to understand many things. For instance, the truth of the Lich calamity and the dynamics among the heavenly, human, and Earth Dao in the Great Desolation. The heavenly Dao was as dominant. Would the suppression of the human and Earth Dao be that simple? Raising her right hand, Houte's body emitted a profound aura, beginning to search the underworld for Emperor Xin's soul. Seeing this, Gu Changsheng smiled, knowing she couldn't refuse him. Then a familiar SY stem prompt sounded in his ear. Congratulations to the host for successfully checking in at the underworld. Task completed. Reward, even Heaven's Secrets points, one lottery chance, with how to searching for Emperor Xin, he decided to proceed with the lottery. With a thought, a lot, airy panel appeared before him, visible only to him. As the panel spun, Gu Changsheng prayed for something useful. If he got another celestial immortal pill for a dull Gu Changsheng, he might just lose it. Moments later, a prompt indicated the lottery had ended. Congratulations to the host for drawing the Hongling pill. Before Gu Changsheng could check the pill's effects, Houghton's brows furrowed in anger. There is no Emperor Xing's soul in the underworld. Are you toying with me? Chapter 56, Are you willing? Houghton's words immediately diverted Gu Changsheng's attention from the lottery results. Cannot be found. Gu Changsheng asked with a puzzled expression. But his reaction was clearly not the answer Houghton was looking for. Houghton coldly replied, I am asking you, not for you to question me. Gu Changsheng was even more confused. According to his understanding, wasn't Xing's soul supposed to come to the underworld? So, Gu Changsheng asked again, have you searched the entire underworld? This question immediately displeased Houghton Fu, Arthur, and she responded coldly, are you doubting my abilities? I can tell you very clearly that Xing's soul is not in the underworld. Seeing Houghton's solemn expression, Gu Changsheng was taken aback. As an earthly sage, Houghton controlled every movement in the underworld. As Ho, you two stated, if Xing's soul were in the underworld, she would certainly be able to find it. Since it couldn't be found, it meant Xing's soul was not in the underworld. If it wasn't in the underworld, there were only two possibilities left. Xing's soul had dissipated completely, however, this seemed unlikely. The other possibility was that his soul was on the investiture of the gods. After all, Xing was not an ordinary person. As a human emperor, he had the potential to be listed on the investiture of the gods. This issue was Gu Changsheng's own fault. As a transmigrator, although he had read various novels before, he only had a vague understanding of the specific list on the investiture of the gods. He was very clear about the gods appointed from the famous disciples of the Jia and Chen sects. But Xing, as a human emperor, was a relatively insignificant heavenly joy star. So Gu Changsheng did not specifically remember that Xing was on the investiture of the gods. But this was no big deal. He couldn't find Xing's soul in the underworld, and he had completed a task and won a Hongling Den. He had a premonition, and that this Hongling Den would be useful to him. After returning, he could write Xing's name on the Hongmen scroll, which would summon Xing's soul, Yuan Shen, onto the Hongmen scroll. Then he could resurrect him. It would just take 100 days. Gu Changsheng then said, perhaps I made a mistake. Please forgive me, my friend. I have other matters to attend to, so I won't bother you further. Until next time. Without waiting for Houghton to respond, Gu Changsheng disappeared. Watching Gu Changsheng leave so quickly, Houghton's expression turned slightly angry. What was this guy's problem? He came to the underworld, asked for help to find Xing's soul, and then left as soon as it wasn't found. But unexpectedly, a Hanyuan wolf from the Jie sect appeared, and even claimed to want to fight against Han Zhang. Interest in Gu Changsheng of the Jie sect, was it? Houghton remembered. She would settle this matter the next time Gu Changsheng came to the underworld. She had a feeling that Gu Changsheng would definitely return. Then Houghton's figure slowly disappeared. After returning to Jiejiao Island, Gu Changsheng had a wry smile on his face. This trip to the underworld had reminded him that he did not fully understand everything about the investiture of the gods' calamity. He needed to be more cautious in his future actions. However, he did get a Hongling Den. Thinking of this, Gu Changsheng immediately took out the Hongling Den and began to check its effects. Hongling Den can enhance Hanyun Dou Wo by 1 level. Gu Changsheng was silent for a while. The effect of the Hongling Dam wasn't as surprising to him as he expected. It meant he could advance from Hanyuan 5-fold to Hanyuan 6-fold. Given the current situation, whether he was in the 5th or 6th level wouldn't make much difference to the investiture of the gods. But stepping back, the lottery result was much better than last time, at least it was useful. And his cultivation needed improvement. According to his plan, replacing the entire list on the investiture of the gods wouldn't take long. Once Hong Zhang's power increased, he would surely come after him. In this way, his realm became particularly important. Improving strength was never wrong. With this thought, Gu Changsheng swallowed the Hongling Dan. As soon as the pill entered his stomach, a surge of violent energy exploded. Gu Changsheng immediately entered the system space to prepare for his breakthrough. But the effect of the Hongling Dan was several times better than Gu Changsheng imagined. It only took a few hours from taking the pill to completing the breakthrough. His mana surged out mightily, the power several times stronger than before. Hanyuan Do rose 6-fold. But there was nothing to be happy about. Gu Changsheng took out the Hong and Zhanchen scroll. Seeing the name already written on it, he frowned slightly. The issue of Dixin's soul had disrupted his original plan. It would be great if he could change the name on the Hongman Zhanchen scroll, so he could revive Dixin first and implement his plan sooner. As soon as this thought appeared, a system prompt sounded in his ear. Due to the host's cultivation improvement, you can now write 2 names on the Hongman Zhanchen scroll. Gu Changsheng felt a burst of joy. Indeed, improving strength was always important. He used his finger as a pen infused with mana to add Dixin's name to the Hongman Zhanchen scroll. As the final stroke was completed, the Hongman Zhanchen scroll flashed with golden light, marking the completion of the first step. Gu Changsheng shook his head helplessly. Dixin's soul was indeed on the investiture of the gods. It was indeed his own mistake. But it didn't matter. From now on, in just 100 days, he could transfer Dixin to the Hongman Zhanchen scroll and revive him. Now, he just needed to wait patiently. As time passed, approaching the 100-day mark, due to Dixin's low cultivation or his unique status, the 100-day period for the Hongman Zhanchen scroll was significantly shortened for Dixin. On the 97th day, Dixin's soul was already transferred to the Hongman Zhanchen scroll, even faster than the names Gu Changsheng had previously written. The process of reconstructing Dixin's body was also smooth and simple. With a flash of light, Dixin was resurrected before Gu Changsheng. However, this human emperor seemed not to have come to his senses yet, looking confused. What happened? Wasn't he dead? At this moment, Gu Changsheng looked at Dixin with a slight smile and asked softly, Dixin, are you willing? Do you seek revenge?
Chapter 57, Changsheng's Plan. Vindicating Da Shang. Dixin hadn't yet figured out what was happening. But upon hearing Gu Changsheng's words, he instinctively looked at Gu Changsheng and answered without hesitation. I am not willing. I am absolutely not willing. His voice suddenly grew louder. Da Shang had been so prosperous, yet it was ultimately destroyed by his own hands. But then, Dixin's expression darkened, and he laughed bitterly. So what if I'm not willing? Da Shang is already gone. From the moment the Ziki army captured Keoji, Da Shang had fallen. However, Gu Changsheng stared at Dixin with a calm expression. Is Da Shang really gone? In my opinion, whether Da Shang is truly gone depends on you. As long as you are here, Da Shang will not perish. These simple words left Dixin stunned. As long as he was there, Da Shang was not gone. Dixin looked at himself, then at Gu Changsheng, and seemed to suddenly understand something. He quickly exclaimed, Is it the Immortal who resurrected me? With that, Dixin bowed deeply to Gu Changsheng, sincerely saying, Please, Immortal, help my Da Shang. The campaign of Ziki against Shang left Dixin deeply aware of the dominance of Immortals over the mortal world. If Ziki had not had Jiang Ziya and the disciples of Chan's sect like Guan Kegs assisting, How could they have destroyed Da Shang's foundation? Now that Gu Changsheng had resurrected him, Gu Changsheng must have the ability to help him. Gu Changsheng was right. As long as he lived, Da Shang still existed. The opportunity was before him. It depended on whether he could grasp it. Seeing that Di Xin understood his intentions, Gu Changsheng said calmly, "No hurry, stay here for the next few days. Once everything is prepared, I will come to find you." Reviving Di Xin and raising the banner of vindicating Da Shang to counterattack Ziki was Gu Changsheng's plan. Yuanshi ordered the Chan sect disciples to stay on Kunlun Mountain, thinking they would be safe. The way the Chan sect dealt with the Jie sect back then, Gu Changsheng would now repay in kind. Previously, Jie sect disciples served in Da Shang. Now, the Chan sect had a deep karmic connection with Ziki. As long as they acted against Ziki, the Chan sect disciples would inevitably come out. At that time, even if he did not act, he had 100 ways to have Jie sect disciples send Chan sect disciples onto the investiture of the gods. So helping Di Xin was helping Jie sect. This was the main reason, with a secondary reason, being Di Xin's situation. To Gu Changsheng, Di Xin was quite pitiful. Once a wise ruler who inherited Da Shang's foundation, but because of the investiture of the gods, was schemed against by Maitreya, angered Niue, and lost Da Shang. Well, it's better not to think about these things. Now, after instructing Di Xin a few words, Gu Changsheng left Jiejiao Island. To push Da Shang's counterattack against Ziki, Gu Changsheng's plan required one more person. Watching Gu Changsheng leave, Di Xin still felt like he was dreaming. But one thing was certain, his opportunity had come. North Sea. A figure flew from a distance. It was Gu Changsheng. Standing high above the North Sea, a sweep of his divine sense revealed a person in the center of the North Sea. It was Shen Gongbao. This was the second person Gu Changsheng needed for his plan. Di Xin's counterattack against Ziki needed a leader. Just like Jiang Ziya's role in Ziki's campaign against Shang. Among the current Jie sect disciples, Duobao, Yongxiao, Bixiao, Zhao Gongming, and Wudong were unsuitable, and the 7 fairies were out of the question. Most other Jie sect disciples were still on the investiture of the gods. After some thought, Gu Changsheng chose Shen Gongbao. In Gu Changsheng's view, Shen Gongbao was also a pitiful person. Originally, he and Jiang Ziya were both disciples of the Chan sect. But Yuanshi intentionally sent Shen Gongbao to Da Shang to continuously recruit Jie sect disciples, ensuring Jiang Ziya could successfully campaign against Shang. Even though Jiang Ziya's success in overthrowing Shang and sending Jie sect disciples onto the investiture had Shen Gongbao's contributions, Yuanshi took Shen Gongbao and imprisoned him in the North Sea after the success. Perhaps in Yuanshi's heart, besides the 12 golden immortals of Yuxu, all other Chan sect disciples were insignificant. Gu Changsheng moved to hover directly above the North Sea, his gaze falling on Shen Gongbao below. At this moment, Shen Gongbao's eyes were tightly closed, his expression miserable. Sensing Gu Changsheng's arrival, Shen Gongbao slowly opened his eyes, glanced at Gu Changsheng, but showed no emotion, closing his eyes again. Gu Changsheng then asked in a deep voice, "Do you want to leave here?" Shen Gongbao's body trembled, but he said nothing. Of course, he wanted to, but it was Yuanshi who imprisoned him here. What could the person before him do? Shen Gongbao's reaction was expected by Gu Changsheng. With a slight smile, Gu Changsheng said slowly, "I am Gu Changsheng, a disciple of the Jie sect. I can rescue you, and Yuanshi won't dare say anything. But as a price, you must help me with something." As he spoke, Gu Changsheng released his Hunyuan Daluo level pressure. Shen Gongbao, who had been indifferent, suddenly widened his eyes and stared at Gu Changsheng. The pressure from Gu Changsheng was far stronger than Yuanshi's. Shen Gongbao did not understand why a Jie sect disciple was so powerful, and he did not care. All he wanted now was to leave here. Shen Gongbao quickly said, "Rescue me, and Shen Gongbao will follow your orders without any disloyalty." With Shen Gongbao's promise, Gu Changsheng reached out his right hand, broke the seal above the North Sea, and rescued Shen Gongbao. "Follow me back to Jiejiao Island." Gu Changsheng took Shen Gongbao back to Jiejiao Island. The next day, Kunlun Mountain, Yuxu Palace. "Master, I wish to go out for a while." Yuding Zhenren respectfully asked Yuanshi. But Yuanshi's expression turned cold. You have only been on Kunlun Mountain for 100 days. Yuding, since when have you become so restless? For a cultivator, 100 days was nothing. Even 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years were just a short retreat. Seeing Yuanshi displeased, Yuding Zhenren quickly explained, Master, I just want to check on Yang Jian. Disciples like Yang Jian and never had not come to Kunlun Mountain. However, Yuanshi said, what are you worried about? Gu Changsheng and Tongtian will not harm our Chan sect disciples. Besides, the elite disciples of the Jie sect were almost all on the investiture of the gods, and the remaining ones could not compete with Yang Jian and others. Therefore, these Chan sect disciples were very safe. Just as Yuding Zhenren wanted to say something, a loud shout came from outside Kunlun Mountain. Yuanshi, come out. Yuanshi's expression changed. The voice was from Gu Changsheng. Chapter 58. Declaring war on Kunlun. Upon hearing Gu Changsheng's voice, Yuding Zhenren panicked and trembled as he spoke. Master, what is Gu Changsheng doing at Kunlun Mountain? Hadn't the Chan sect already retreated to Kunlun Mountain? Why was Gu Changsheng still coming after This was going too far. Yuding Zhenren looked at Yuanshi with a face full of panic. Although they were on Kunlun Mountain, and had their master here, even when the master and the sage Taiking joined forces on the investiture of the god stage, they couldn't capture Gu Changsheng. Now it was just his master alone. Unlike Tailai and Chai Jingzi, Yuding Zhenren did not voice the truth, but his fearful expression spoke volumes. Seeing this, Yuanshi's face turned dark, and he shouted coldly, why panic? The teacher has decreed that Gu Changsheng is not allowed to act. I want to see what he wants at Kunlun Mountain. To be honest, when he realized it was Gu Changsheng, Yuanshi's heart trembled. Was Gu Changsheng here to cause trouble? But then, anger surged within him. This was Kunlun Mountain, the dojo of the Chan sect. How dare he bully them to their doorstep? When had the Chan sect ever suffered such humiliation? Having said that, Yuanshi left Yuxu Palace. He appeared in the sky outside Kunlun Mountain, immediately seeing Gu Changsheng opposite him. But Gu Changsheng was not alone. Upon seeing the two figures beside him, Yuanshi exclaimed, Shen Gongbao, how dare you leave the North Sea? Yuanshi did not recognize the person on Gu Changsheng's left, but the one on the right was clearly Shen Gongbao, who he had previously imprisoned in the North Sea. Hearing Yuanshi's cold shout, Shen Gongbao responded firmly, from the moment you imprisoned me in the North Sea, I ceased to be a disciple of the Chan sect. After Gu Changsheng rescued Shen Gongbao, he explained how Yuanshi had schemed, handed the investiture of the gods to Jiang Ziya, and provoked Shen Gongbao to go to Dashang. Learning the truth, Shen Gongbao was even more indignant and determined to seek justice for himself. Previously, he had failed to stop Jiang Ziya and help Dashang. This time, he would help Dixin vindicate Dashang. Shen Gongbao's attitude only enraged Yuanshi further. A Chan sect disciple dared to be so insolent. Saintly power began to surge from Yuanshi, preparing to strike Shen Gongbao. But before he could move, Gu Changsheng stepped in front of Shen Gongbao and said coldly, Yuanshi, I advise you not to act. Shen Gongbao is now under my protection. He still needed Shen Gongbao to lead the counterattack against Ziki. Gu Changsheng's words caused Yuanshi's saintly power to pause momentarily, then he asked, Gu Changsheng, what are you here for? Yuanshi had a very bad feeling about this. Gu Changsheng pointed to the man beside him and spoke. It seems you don't recognize him, so let me introduce you. This is Dixin, the former King Zhou of Dashang. Upon hearing this, Yuanshi's gaze immediately fell on Dixin. Dixin, if he remembered correctly, Dixin's soul was also on the investiture of the gods. Yuanshi seemed to realize something and exclaimed, Gu Changsheng, you can actually steal souls from the investiture of the gods. First Bixiao, and now Dixin, that made two. But on the investiture stage, Gu Changsheng had only managed to capture one soul, so what was Dixin's deal? Yuanshi was deeply puzzled. The investiture of the gods was currently in their teacher's hands. How was Gu Changsheng doing this? However, Gu Changsheng ignored Yuanshi's words and instead spoke solemnly. I am here today to inform you of one thing. Ziki, as a vassal state of Dashang, has rebelled. Now, the Jie sect intends to help Dixin quash the rebellion. During this process, Yuanshi, you are not to bully the weak and attack my Jie sect disciples. If you violate this, I guarantee that there will be no more Chan sect disciples. The threat in his words was unmistakable. Di Xin, who stood beside him, was relatively calm, as he did not know much about Yuanqi, the Jade Pure Sage. But Shen Gongbao was in turmoil. Honestly, when Gu Changsheng first rescued him, he had some doubts. After all, Yuan Shi was the Jade Pure Sage, and even if Gu Changsheng was a Hunyuan Da Luo, he might not be able to match Yuanqi. But now, Shen Gongbao realized he had underestimated Gu Changsheng. By now, Yuanqi's face had turned extremely grim. He had planned for his Chan sect disciples to stay on Kunlun Mountain until the teacher finished repairing the investiture of the gods, thus avoiding the Jie sect. The Jie sect wouldn't come to Kunlun Mountain to attack Chan sect disciples, right? But now, Gu Changsheng had resurrected Di Xin, and intended to help Da Shang vindicate its earth. Was this possible? After Jiang Ziya's campaign against Shang, the Chan sect had a significant karmic link with Ziki. If Ziki was truly destroyed, the Chan sect would suffer karmic backlash and loss of fortune. What kind of situation was this? He had commanded Jiang Ziya to AT&T, ACK Shang, drawing out Jie sect disciples. Now, Gu Changsheng was using Shen Gongbao and Di Xin to vindicate themselves, forcing out Chan sect disciples. Yuanqi gritted his teeth and said, "Why should I listen to you? You say I can't act, and I can't act. When did the Jade Pure Sage have to follow the rules set by a Jie sect disciple?" In response, Gu Changsheng's sword hummed. He raised the sky-killing sword, its tip pointing directly at Yuanqi. With this sword, these simple 4 words left Yuanqi speechless. Rules were always set by the Estir. Having said this, Gu Changsheng left with Di Xin and Shen Gongbao. Yuanqi returned to Yuxu Palace. Seeing his master return, Yuding Zhenren quickly stepped forward to ask, "Master, what did Gu Changsheng come here for?" Yuanqi's face was cold as he recounted Gu Changsheng's intention to help Di Xin vindicate Da Shang. Upon hearing this, Yuding Zhenren quickly said, "Master, our Chan sect disciples must not leave the mountain. Since Gu Changsheng is helping Di Xin vindicate himself, he must have many methods. If our disciples leave the mountain, they'll end up like Chai Jingzi and the others." Yuanqi sighed deeply. How could he not know? But the karmic link between the Chan sect and Ziki. Enough. Yuanqi finally made a decision. This time, the Chan sect would not interfere with Ziki. If Ziki was destroyed and the Cha sect suffered karmic backlash and loss of fortune, so be it. After all, fortune could be restored over millions of years. But if Chan sect disciples died, they would be gone for good. They would endure this period for now. Gu Changsheng, killing my Chan sect disciples won't be at easy. Chapter 59. Yuanqi, your task has come by your palace. Changsheng, this plan is brilliant. Tongtian marveled after hearing Gu Changsheng's plan to help Di Xin vindicate Da Shang. Gu Changsheng replied calmly, "I have already spread Di Xin's name, and gathered the old forces of Da Shang. In a few days, the vindication would begin." But soon, Tongtian thought of a question. "Have you considered that in this vindication, we won't just be facing the disciples of the Chan sect, but also the Western sect, the human sect, and some rogue cultivators in the wild?" Back when Jiang Ziya helped Ziki attack Shang, without the assistance of characters like Luoya and Cao Bao, the Jie sect wouldn't have lost. Although the situation had eased somewhat with the return of Gu Changsheng and Tongtian, the number of disciples was still not large. Tu Bai, Yongsu, Zhao Gongming, Bixiao, only a few of them could fight effectively. The others, even facing Chan sect disciples like Yuding Zhenren, might not be able to win. However, Gu Changsheng had anticipated this long ago. He smiled and said, "Master, don't worry. I have ways to help the Jie sect win." His methods were beyond Yuanqi and others' imagination. As long as Chan sect disciples left Kunlun Mountain, he had 100 ways to ensure Jie sect disciples would send them onto the investiture of the gods. But then, Tongtian frowned and said seriously, "Changsheng, your PLA hinges on Yuanqi being concerned about the karma between Chan sect and Ziki, forcing Chan sect disciples to descend the mountain. But have you considered that Yuanqi might disregard Ziki to protect his disciples? If that happened, Di Xin's vindication would lose much of its significance." This too was within Gu Changsheng's expectations. He replied calmly, "Master, rest assured. This matter is not for Yuanqi alone to decide. Seeing Gu Changsheng's confidence, Tongtian couldn't help but ask, "Why are you so confident?" Gu Changsheng smiled slightly, looking Ng toward the direction of Jiejiao Palace, and said slowly, "Master, you'll know when the time comes." If his guess was correct, Hogjen's investiture of the gods should soon be repaired. At that time, Hogjen would surely have Yuanqi send someone onto the list again. In this way, Yuanqi and the Chan sect disciples would have to leave Kunlun Mountain. From the moment Gu Changsheng returned to the wild, everything had been under his control. Gu Changsheng's sudden comment left Tongtian speechless. Even with him, he was keeping secrets. Tongtian snorted cold. "Lie, you handle it as you see fit. I'm not getting involved. I'm going into seclusion." With that, Tongtian turned and left. Gu Changsheng also returned to his cave to prepare for Di Xin's vindication. Jiejiao Palace meanwhile, at Jiejiao Palace, Hogjen stood before the investiture of the gods. The light from the list grew increasingly intense, finally reaching a peak. A mysterious aura burst forth from the list. Seeing this, Hogjen smiled lightly. The investiture of the gods was finally repaired. Next, Yuanqi needed to send another Jie sect disciple onto the list to fill it and complete the process. Hogjen picked up the investiture of the gods and instinctively opened it. He hadn't forgotten what happened at Juxian Mountain with Bixiao. But when Hogjen opened the list and carefully examined it, his smile gradually froze. The NEMES listed after the spirit heaven immortal goddess were only missing Jiang Ziya. If that were all, Hogjen wouldn't react this way. After all, Gu Changsheng had indeed snatched a soul on the investiture of the god stage. But besides Bixiao, the names after Tiangxi Star and the Golden Drag on True Lord were also vacant. Dixin and Zhao Gongming's souls were no longer on the list. What was going on? Didn't Gu Changsheng only take one soul? Why were there 3 missing now? Hogjen immediately began to calculate. But he found nothing. He couldn't even deduce the whereabouts of Bixiao, Dixin, and Zhao Gongming. Gu Changsheng. Hogjen immediately identified the crux of the problem. If it were just Bixiao and the others, he could have deduced something. But everything in the wild was under his control, except for Gu Changsheng, the Mimali. Gu Changsheng's presence was increasingly unsettling for Hogjen. After a brief thought, Hogjen decided not to confront Gu Changsheng. Even if he did, Gu Changsheng likely wouldn't admit anything. The key issue was that with his current strength, he still couldn't completely capture Gu Changsheng. To capture Gu Changsheng, he needed a breakthrough in his cultivation. Completing the investiture of the gods would further align him with the heavenly Tao, enhancing his strength. Then, eliminating Gu Changsheng would be effortless. To eliminate Gu Changsheng, completing the investiture of the gods was crucial. Although he didn't know exactly how Gu Changsheng was extracting souls from the list, it was clear that Gu Changsheng needed a process to do so. As long as the list was filled quickly, he could complete the investiture and eliminate Gu Changsheng. With this in mind, Hogjen immediately sent a message to Yuanqi, summoning him. As a Tao ancestor, Hogjen couldn't personally kill someone to fill the list, as it would involve karma. So, like before, the task of completing the investiture was assigned to Yuanqi. Soon, Yuanqi arrived at Jiejiao Palace. Yuanqi looked at Hogjen, puzzled. Why would the teacher summon him alone now? Could it be that the teacher had a way to deal with Gu Changsheng? Yuanqi immediately asked, "Teacher, Gu Changsheng somehow resurrected Dixin. He even brought Dixin to Kunlun Mountain to declare war, acting extremely arrogantly. Please, teacher, take action." Hearing Yuanqi mention Dixin, Hogjen's expression remained unchanged, as he already knew. Hogjen said calmly, "I will handle Gu Changsheng." Yuanqi was overjoyed at this, but Hogjen's next words made Yuanqi's expression freeze. Hogjen waved his right hand, handing the investiture of the gods to Yuanqi, and said, "But before that, you must first send 3 Jie sect disciples onto the list and fill it." Yuanqi's mouth twitched uncontrollably. He even rubbed his ears. Did he hear it right? The teacher wanted him to send 3 Jie sect disciples onto the list. With Gu Changsheng guarding the Jie sect, how dare he act? Yuanqi immediately questioned, "Teacher, you want me to send 3 Jie sect disciples to fill the list?" This simple question, asked in a questioning tone, made Hogjen's face darken. "Are you questioning me?" Chapter 60, The Vindication begins. Yuanqi visits Mount Sumo again. Seeing Hogjen's displeased expression, Yuanqi, having learned his lesson from the last time, immediately shook his head. Disciple did not mean that. Hoggen coldly replied, if that is so, do you have any other questions? Go now. Fill the investiture of the gods as soon as possible. Gu Changsheng's presence always made Hoggen uneasy. He needed to complete the investiture quickly, merge further with the Tao, and fully capture Gu Changsheng. But Hoggen's words made Yuanqi feel like crying. Send Jie sect disciples to the list. How could the Chan sect send Jie sect disciples to the list now? After hesitating for a moment, Yuanqi gritted his teeth and resolutely said, Master, the Chan sect will take full responsibility for the investiture. But right now, I'm afraid the disciple has the will but not the strength. After Jiang Ziya's success in defeating Shan, our Chan sect lost Sehang, and ran down to the Western sect. Jiang Ziya and Dao Xingtian died tragically on the investiture stage, and Guan Chegs was severely injured. Moreover, just a few hours ago, that Gu Changsheng came to Kunlun Mountain to declare war, threatening that disciples could not take action. Disciple is really. The more Yuanqi spoke, the more agitated he became. In short, he was conveying one message. Master, the Chan sect really can't handle the investiture now. However, Hoggen, after a brief thought, rebuked, when did your brain become so foolish, Yuanqi? At the beginning of the investiture, when the Jie sect's myriad immortals gathered, with Duobao and Jinling Shenmu, the Chan sect could still and Jie sect disciples to the list. Now the Jie sect has suffered heavy losses, and Tongtian has fallen from his holy position, only adding Gu Changsheng. Moreover, I will keep an eye on Gu Changsheng, he will not take action. With this, can you still not handle it? It's Gu, Saint 3 people, and you, the Jade Pure Saint, are stumped. These words from Hoggen immediately made Yuanqi defend himself. Master, it is not the same. In the previous investiture, it wasn't just our Chan sect. As he spoke, Yuanqi suddenly recalled something, and his eyes outled. Hoggen immediately said, do you understand now? This investiture, I am entrusting to you, but it is not just for your Chan sect to accomplish. Jiang Ziya's success in defeating Shang was inseparable from the Western sect, the human sect, and some rogue cultivators. And she finally figured it out. Indeed, the Chan sect had few usable people now, but there was still the Western sect, and the human sect. With Gu Changsheng unable to take action, the combined forces of the Chan sect, the Western sect, and the human sect should be able to handle a few Jie sect disciples. Yuanqi, now filled with confidence, said, Master, rest assured, I will fill the investiture of the gods as quickly as possible. With that, Yuanqi turned and left. A cold glint flashed in Hoggen's eyes. Once the investiture list was complete, it would be time for him to deal with Gu Changsheng. Mount Sumo. After leaving Jiejiao Palace, Yuanqi did not return to Kunlun Mountain. Instead, he headed towards Mount Sumo. For this investiture, the Chan sect could not afford to lose any more disciples. He had already decided that this time he would only send Jiang Ziya and others for appearances. As for actually dealing with the Jie sect, he needed someone from the Western sect. With Gu Changsheng unable to take action, the strongest among the Jie sect disciples now was Duobao. For Duobao's cultivation level, there was one eye in the Western sect who could defeat him. Tong Xuan. Tong Xuan's 5-colored divine light was extremely powerful. He would go to the Western sect, bring Tong Xuan, and have him deal with the Jie sect. As for Tongtian, although his cultivation had fallen, Yuanqi would keep an eye on high. If Tongtian took action, he would report to the teacher, who would then handle it. Thinking about this, Yuanqi had already arrived at Mount Sumo. After the last destruction of Mount Sumo by Nuwa, it had now been rebuilt by the 2 Western saints. Rebuilding Mount Sumo was simple, but restoring the Western sect's luck and foundation was not. As soon as Yuanqi arrived above Mount Sumo, a cold voice came from within. Yuanqi, what brings you to our Western sect again? Hearing Jiayan's voice, Yuanqi's expression changed slightly. He moved directly into Nt Sumio. Facing Jiayan and Junti, Yuanqi said coldly, do you think I want to be here? With that, Yuanqi took out the investiture of the gods. Now Gu Changsheng of the Jie sect is assisting King Zhou, Di Xin, in raising an army for vindication. Under the teacher's orders, I must take 3 Jie sect disciples to fill the list. Your Western sect must fully support this. A simple statement explained the situation. Jiang and Zhangti exchanged glances. Jiang frowned and said, "Our Western sect can't handle Gu Changsheng either." Though he wanted revenge against Gu Changsheng, Jiang wasn't foolish. This was also within Yuanqi's expectations. If the Western sect didn't help, the Chan sect couldn't take the risk alone. Yuanqi directly said, "Jiang, understand this. I am not negotiating with you. I am informing you of the teachers around Aments. Moreover, Gu Changsheng cannot take action. Lend Kong Xuan to the Chan sect, and he can easily deal with several Jie sect disciples." Yuanqi didn't hold back, directly mentioning Kong Xuan. Zhangti's expression changed slightly. Back when Jiang Ziya attacked Shang, he had taken Kong Xuan from Jiejiao. Recently, Kong Xuan had made some progress in his cultivation, and was in seclusion, seeking a breakthrough. That's why Gu Changsheng hadn't encountered Kong Xuan when he came to Mount Sumo. Santi didn't want to get involved in this investiture matter, but Yuanqi said it was the Dao ancestors' order. Zhangti reluctantly said, "Fine, but Kong Xuan is currently in seclusion. You return to Yuxu Palace first. I will inform Kong Xuan, and have him go to Yuxu Palace." Hearing this, Yuanqi raised his right hand, making a gesture. 3 days. In 3 days, Kong Xuan must arrive at Yuxu Palace. If the investiture is delayed, and the teacher blames us, I won't be able to help you. Who knew when Gu Changsheng would start the vindication? Yuanqi planned to fill the investiture list as soon as Gu Changsheng began. That, Yuanqi turned and left. The two Western saints remained silent. Shanti couldn't help but ask, "Brother, what should our Western sect do?" Jiang replied helplessly, "What else can we do? Let Kong Xuan go and finish the investiture as soon as possible." The vindication begins, however. Yuanqi underestimated Gu Changsheng's speed. The next day, Shen Gongbao had already begun raising an army for the vindication. Gu Changsheng's plan had officially started.